Hello everybody, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back to the man with the frog in his throat. So here we are, World War I Wednesday. Hopefully it's going to go out on Wednesday this week. It's Tuesday today, so hopefully we can get enough content to put a video together. So here we have all the panels that are going to go around the nose. This is the machine gun cover, this is the belly. It's going up underneath the undercarriage legs. Here are the side cowlings, the main firewall, and the actual cowling itself. So these were all, if you remember, these were all plated, and I didn't like it in the kit. It was very thick, the plating, so I removed it with bleach. I've since had some issues with gluing it and everything, and a few of you have commented that maybe the bleach has left the primer coat on the parts, and I'm beginning to wonder if you're actually correct, because we can see on here there are certainly some deposits. You can see there's like a white deposit of some sort, and it doesn't come off easily. It doesn't just scratch off. So that could be right. So what I'm going to do is actually, maybe should have done this before I put the super glue in, but I'm going to give them a wash in some leveling thinners, some Mr. Colour leveling thinners. Don't ever use rapid thinner, because that will actually eat the plastic, but this is safe on most plastics. Obviously try a bit first. What I might actually do is go over the cotton bud. In fact, we can do that now on camera, live here from the studios of Nigel's Modelling Bench on Tuesday the 20th of May 2025. We could go in with the cotton bud and see if it removes that residue. Where was the worst residue? It was on here, wasn't it? Luckily it doesn't just make it go clear when it gets wet, so we can see when it's actually being removed. See, we've got some all around there and there's some along there. So yes, it is actually removing it. So it could be that was the issue I had when trying to glue. And no doubt it would give me an issue trying to paint as well. So pretty good that we've got this now. If I leave it for a few days to dry, the super glue should be alright in the leveling thinners. But you know, unless I leave it for 24-48 hours, it probably won't be. Okay. We've got a fastener detail at the bottom there, and gonna have to get something in there and give that a good old scrape, because that really does not want to come off, that whited there, whatever it is. It's probably a thick pool of primer or something. That's very interesting. I think what I might do is get it wet and let it just sit and see if it dissolves. So I'll go on and carry on doing this. I'm giving these parts a clean, a degrease if you like, and then we can get on and give them a coat of black primer. The only reason I want to give them a coat of black primer is because I may have a problem with the paint sticking, and I would rather sand out a black primer, Mr. Surfacer, than, because I'll probably do these with either LP11, LP70 or LP38, is it 48 sparkling silver? I don't know which one I'll use yet, but I will use one of them and give them a nice bright silver coat. This is the sparkling silver, and I think it looks a little bit, it's a lovely silver colour, but it does look very sort of like Tamiya plated part-esque, and it can be a bit toy-like with all this. So I think I'll do it with LP11, which will dull it down a bit, and maybe even give it a satin varnish or something. We shall see, but you can see that we've got these deposits in the corners here as well. So I'm going to get on and get all this done, and then I'll be back. Alright, there we go, all cleaned up and all painted. Now I can tell you now that I put these, if you remember, I did these in bleach, got to get the plating off, which was absolutely fine. Then when I glued them I found I had problems. Then I noticed some white deposits on them, so I left them for 24 hours in some IPA. Made no difference whatsoever. So I got a shallow tray, I put some Mr. Colour leveling thinners in the shallow tray. There's the leveling thinners there. I left these parts in there for literally 5 minutes and I could see a film starting to come off. It almost looked like a sheet of cling film lifting off the surface. In fact, I should have kept it. I've thrown it in the bin. Here is I don't know if you can see in the bottom of there is some residue, and that's the dirty thinners from the bottom of the tray. So yeah, so there was some sort of clear primer coat on there that was affecting things. So that may have been what was affecting the glue. I find it hard to believe because the parts I had trouble with were the fuel tank halves, which I sanded off the mating faces. So unless the lacquer was that hard that you couldn't sand it, I don't know. But certainly these parts had a layer on them. There's a few bits of dust on this one, I think. I think this one's a lot better. This one here. But you can see we've got very, very crisp, sharp lines now where there's none of that build-up of that white dusty deposit. So done away with the ejector pin marks. It's not perfect, any stretch of the imagination, but it's better that they're not there, just in case we can see inside any of this. And you can see now on the cowling how sharp that rivet detail is around the front. You know, so it's had a very thin coat of black Mr. Surfacer as a sort of undercoat, so I can see any dust or marks or whatever. So there we are, all looking hunky-dory. Very good. Very happy with that. Get rid of some dust specks, and then the biggest problem with that is I wiped it off with tissue paper, which was stupid. So I've got dust on it. But this here, if you remember, was made of 3 separate pieces. There's a piece there, a piece there, and a piece there. So there's a seam. So I wanted to see what the seam looked like, and as we can see there, we've got a little bit of an edge. So I'm just going to give that a very gentle sanding. This is absolutely worn out, this stick. So I'll just give that a gentle sanding to get rid of any marks and go from there. But as we can see, we are really starting to get somewhere now. So that's all masked off. These bits here are going to be sprayed. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do them like a brick colour, red colour, or maybe a tan colour. I haven't made my mind up yet. But that panel there, this panel on the underside, and these 2 side panels, they will be painted in that colour. So these will be painted in the polished aluminium colour, but these will be painted in a different colour. I think they suggest wood brown, or like I may go for LP18, is it? LP18, which is designed for ship hulls. So I think I might go for that. That'll look quite nice with the green. So there we go. So I'm going to get that done now, get these sprayed in either LP11 or something else, and see how they look. Right, see you in a bit. Okay, here we go, next day, and as you can see I've just been painting some silver. So we've got the hull red down. There's 3 coats on there. I have problems with bits of dust and stuff. I think it's because I'm using this bloody tissue paper rather than kitchen towel. It's my own fault. But yeah, 3 lots on there, rubbed down in between. So that's all looking good. I'll probably give it a coat of satin varnish from VMS just to protect it. We also need to go in and paint that leather around there. So we'll get that done as well. So that's all our red parts done. And then here we have the silver parts, and these are done with Tamiya LP11. And as you can see, I've got problems once again. There's a hair there. That's one of the problems of having a puppy in the house. But I mean, I thought I'd have to go around and give this a rub down and a second coat anyway. But I'll leave this for like 24 hours. LP11 is a wonderful, wonderful paint, but don't try and sand it too quickly because you'll rip it off. But certain parts look lovely, they're good to go. But there are a few dust issues. The other thing worth remembering with silver, it's one of the worst colours, along with light grey. You know, you think you've got your ejector pin marks done, and then you put silver on, and you can see, you know, there's bits of fluff there, but you can see the ejector pin marks in there. So whether I'm going to rub them out again and sort them out or not, I do not know. I'll look at the back of this one, see what that looks like. You see even here, you know, you thought they were okay, but nope, they're there. You can see them. I'm not going to worry about them on that because that's going to be up against the oil tank at the front anyway. Insides of these don't look so pretty. You can see in there, they don't look so nice. So we'll see how much of that can be seen when it's actually on the model. I'm not sure if it I don't think any of it will be seen because it's right up front and sort of instrument panel, everything's in the way, but these panels are removable, I think. The other thing I've got to do, as I've said so many times, I keep repeating myself, is look at the build sequence, because I'm sure there's a lot I can do around this nose before the wings go on. Because once the wings go on, especially the top wing, you're going to be working in a into a hole. So I need to be mindful of that. Also, I think we need to get this on first before we do anything else as well. So there we go. I'm going to call it a day there. I think it might have only been a 15-20 minute video, but otherwise you won't get anything at all this week. I have spent hours on this. Ejector pin marks, sanding them out, and then we had the seams on here to deal with. We also then had the problems with the dust and everything. I have spent probably a good 6 or 7 hours on this, if not more. Sanding out and stuff like that and stripping it and everything. So it's another one of those bloody hours and hours and hours of work for 15-20 minutes of video. That's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's just bish bosh, done. But sometimes you just seem to be working so much off camera it's untrue. So I'm going to call that a day for this week. Okay, so a change of heart. That wasn't enough really for 1 week, was it? So that was going to be going out last week a bit late, so what I've decided to do is just bring it on to this week and you'll have a full-length video rather than have 2 little ones. So okay, where have we been? We've got the fuselage there. You can go back and see the videos. I've done nothing more on that off camera. The silver paintwork, if you remember, we had some bits of dust and hairs and stuff in it, so I've gone over and done all that again. That's all been sanded out and that's all sprayed with RP11, and as you can see, it's such a lovely paint. I still have a little fleck there. That's okay, it's gone on the surface, that's gone. So yeah, we've got pretty much perfect cowling now. We did have some mould seams on here which are all sanded out now and everything, so all looking good. Remember, the silver will show up everything. We've also tidied up the back of these. These bits are going to be going on in a minute, so we'll get those off of those spikes, and we'll put our spikes away over there. So we've got parts ready to get all this stuff out of the way, because when we start swinging the fuselage around, it's very, very dodgy having stuff anywhere nearby, because these tail feathers are, as you can imagine, quite fragile. I've got a box of bits over here. So what I'm going to do now, I've gone back in the instructions. I'm not fitting the seat yet because I don't want to do that until we're ready to put the top on, because I don't think it's going to help. So what I'm looking at now is here we have these 2 side pieces going in. So if you remember, these pieces, these strings G and H, I actually wrapped up around the fuselage, and somebody was asking how I'm going to get the seating with them there. Well, they were only put there temporarily, so we can unwrap that now. And the reason I did that was because, if you remember, they all had the bend lines in them from where they've been wrapped around that cardboard, so they no longer have that. Now, the other thing we've got here, we've got to be careful of, is we've got these strings here. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to get a piece of tape, just a little piece of tape, and I'm going to have this string up here wrapped around, because I want to leave this fuselage tensioning until the last minute if I can, before we put the wings on. And then we'll have the same over here. It's got a tiny little tail on that one there. This one I have gone around and actually just gently pulled it up to try and get some of the tension out of it. So here we've got these dangling out here. So now we've got to put these on. Now, many of you will be looking, as I did, looking at this and saying don't cement. That's usually the symbol they use for do not cement. What that means is actually remove the paint or the plating, because if you remember the kit, these parts are plated. So they're saying you to remove the paint from the area where it's going to be glued. The other thing we need to do is grab these ghastly little drills, which I really don't like, and drill out these rigging holes with a 0.6 drill, just to remove any paint or anything. And it also, 0.6 seems to be the perfect size for the string to go through. Remember, not only do you need to be able to thread it through, but it needs to have some clearance in it, because you need to be able to slide the strings along and pull them around. So that one's going on, this is this side, yep, that's okay, that's correct. So this one's going to go on this side. So basically what we need to do is remove a little bit of paint from here and a little bit of paint from here. Okay, do the same on the other side so we don't have to come back to it. So we'll remove a little bit of paint from there and a little bit of paint from there, and then that hole that goes into there is go away string. That's going to go into there. So basically that panel is going into there, and that hole, that pin is going into that hole there. Okay, so these are our holes for our rigging. Pick up that string every time. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of paint here, a little bit of paint here. I just want to make sure I get a good bond because I only want to use a tiny amount of cement in here. And I think we're going to start to really see this coming together now. Oh, did I show you? I showed you the propeller now. That's been in the airing cupboard for a week, 10 days. So that'll be nice and ready for a clear coat. So what I'm going to do here is thread this string through. Okay, so that's coming through there. That's our rigging for our ailerons. And that's just going to clip onto there like that. As you can see, it's a lovely fit. So what I'm going to do is take that away. I'm going to grab, oh dear, this white top always bonds on, doesn't it? And the ring always stays on the top of the glass. So I'm just going to put a little drop there and a little drop there. That'll be enough to hold this on. So grab the string, have it go up the string onto there, like so. Oh, we've got another little contact area up there. Look, I haven't got time to take the glue off on this side. We just put some into that hole, and then just pop this on. Look at that, I've touched. Oh, look what I've done. Oh. I've allowed the glue to get onto the back of the panel and it's come down and it's touched that green paint. So that's a whole lot of work I've got to do now, is mask that off and spray that again. Oh, I don't believe this. That's just my bloody luck. I may be able to, because it's Mr. Hobby, I should be able to touch that in with a brush. Actually, I want to touch that in there as well. So on this side we'll do the same. And then this time I'm going to remove some paint from there and some paint from there. There we go. So now we can grab that from under the glue. This one can go through that hole, just like so. Slide along there, just like that. And then this time we'll put a drop of the glue on here, a drop on there, and a drop down there. And this time we won't drop it. So we'll get the back engaged. Come on! There we go. There, that's a lot cleaner that side. Looks a lot better. I may paint these little brackets black actually. So now we've got our ailerons. You can see the control column there moving. So we'll have our ailerons connected to the control column. So we'll have fully working surfaces. Okay, so that's those on. Now once again, I'm going to close up this glue because it absolutely stinks. Get that out of the way. Get that box out of the way, which is what I said, keep things out of the way because otherwise you knock the tail all the time. So what I'm going to do now is cut these off. No, I'm not. I'm going to bring these up over the top. I'm going to bring this one up over the top. Now, I'm not sure what I can do with these because if we're going to work underneath here, then they're going to be getting in the way. So, let's have a look and see what we're going to do. let's have a look and see what we're going to do. Right, so they're done now, so they can be crossed off. Grab my pencil from over there, Mr. Unprepared. That's done, that's done. That seat's not in yet. We've got our machine guns built up. Now we're going to add the machine guns. So we've got these on here. Remember, we've got the wood and the leather painted. So they can go like that. I'm just going to look actually what we're going to do next so I can get rid of these aileron leads. We've already done all this here. We've already done all this here. We've already done all of that. Now I'm not fitting those wings yet. I'm not doing it. I want to get this work done around the nose. I've had a look and I can't see that any way any of this now is going to restrict us from doing the rigging. I can't see it's going to affect us anyway at all. But I don't see being able to fit this here and then get that in behind is going to be an absolute utter nightmare. So I think, I don't know what they've done with the instructions here. I don't think you're supposed to follow the order at all. So what I'm going to do is go back here. I think what I'll do is get these aileron cables. Get them tied around like this again. And just a piece of tape. Tweezers here, just get those taped off like that, just to get them out of the way. Right, so machine guns built up, leather on the back there, wood on the bottom. So we've got one without a sight and one with a sight. You can see this one's got this tiny little sight on the top there, so that one's going on the right. So this gun is going to drop down. Oh, we've got this G33 piece as well, which is in here. I think that's that one there. Yes, it is, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's that one there. So they're telling you to assemble in order 1, 2. So you're going to put the gun in first. So the gun's going to sit. You've got this block on the end. That's going to go down into that rectangle in the chute. So that's just sitting in there. That's a beautiful fit. And then this is going to go. There's nowhere for that peg on the end to go. Yes, there is. I was looking in the ammo box, not the out tray. So we can see down in here, we've got a. You can see down in there, there's a rectangular. Probably just see it with the end of the pencil. There's a rectangular area for it to go down in. What I'm tempted to do is not follow the instructions and put this in first, because see, I've got that thing there and just whack the tail. Be so bloody careful with this thing. It's such a shame to break anything now, wouldn't it? How on earth am I going to get that down in there? Remember, this will all be covered up anyway. Okay, so what I'm going to do is once again grab this white glue, the white top, put some on there, and then we'll grab our tweezers. We'll drop this down in without touching anything else. It doesn't help at all that it's all black. Oh, come off it. Just bloody stay in the hole, will you? I can't even see what I'm doing because there's bloody black everywhere. I just want this to go down into that hole. Come on! This is what annoys me with stuff like this. It goes in, you dry fit it, it goes in lovely, and as soon as you start getting glue on there and you've got a risk of messing up, things won't go together. Look at it. Bloody bastard thing. Okay, we got there in the end. You can actually put that in first. Even though they tell you to fit the gun first, it's a lot easier to put that in first and then just drop the gun down in. And all I did was the same as I'm going to do now. I put some of the Tamiya white glue. I'm just going to test fit this one first. So there's a block there that goes into a block on the back of the panel. You've got that block there going down into the exit tray, and then you've got a little bit at the back there. So that's going to go down into there. Just managed to break that away, or did I actually not glue it? I can't remember now. That's okay, because it can all be restuck. Okay, so you can see there that the gun is actually sitting there on the back of the instrument panel. So what I'm going to do is take the gun, take some of the white glue and put it on here. And we'll put something. When I say white glue, it's not, I don't mean it's white glue as in PVA, it's the Tamiya white top. So it's my poor terminology really. Okay, so that rectangle is going to go into the top of that chute, and then the block at the back is going to drop down in, and the gun will sit in there, and then we can take a tiny drop of extra thin and come in from the front, because you'll never see it. Just put some in there. I'm going to put another drop in there, and then this forward bracket can come back. We can put a drop in there and a drop in there, even though it's lifted up and it needs to be pushed back down. It's gone back down into its rightful place. What's holding it up? Looks like something's holding it up. I don't know why it doesn't want to stay down. Okay, so I'll put some extra thin in there and a drop in there, in there, and in there, and then just push it back and down. Oh, it's sprung down inside the bloody railing now. There we go. That's that in place. That's not going to go anywhere. It all gets covered up, guys. You've got this this cover here is going to go on, and that is going to literally cover all the work you've just done, as you can see. So all of that beautiful paintwork underneath is all just going to disappear. It can't be made removable because you won't get it off with the barrels on there. So there we go. I suppose you could glue the barrels to that and have it coming off, but then you've got rigging in the way. So we have a video reference and the memories of doing all the beautiful work to produce this absolutely stunning piece. And we're going to cover it all up, never mind, eh? Right, I'm going to put those away. What's next? I've just noticed something, guys. These bottom areas here, these little, where these two holes are, that's where the lower wing rigging is going to be. So that's going to be quite under a lot of tension. So what I'm going to do, because we're going to be fitting a bulkhead onto here, what I'm going to do is get my extra thin and put quite a decent drop in there and let it all capillary around and let it do its thing. I'm not going to touch it afterwards because I don't want any glue oozing out. But remember this, there's a firewall going on here. It's going to cover all this up. So any glue marks or anything will be hidden anyway. But I want to make sure that that panel, these panels are fairly strongly fitted in position, because they're going to have quite a bit of tension on them, and if somebody picks the model up with the wings or something, it's going to just ping them off, and once you ping them off, that's it, it's over. So make sure we got them on nice and strong. Okay. I'll even put some on the back of that pin because it's all going to get covered up. That'll really make sure we got a good weld action going on in there. Right. So, what's next? machine guns. So what we've got to do now is fit this panel that I just showed you, and we've got this chute which is already made up and in there, so that's all done. And then we're going to add some string to this. So where's that string going to go? Please, we don't need to remove the plating. Where on earth is that string going to go? So we've got one in the middle. Okay, stupid me. I've just been, I was looking at this. When you look at this here, it looks like that string's coming out through a hole in the middle, doesn't it? But it's not, they're coming out the sides. So when you get to here, they're coming out the sides and they're just getting tied down. They just come straight down the sides. I don't quite know what they're for. I don't know if they've got to be left loose. It doesn't say to tie them off. It doesn't even tell you how long they should be. So we shall see. But it looks like, I wish these instructions were clearer. It looks like it's tied off there, doesn't it? But normally they tell you to tie it off. I'm going to have to get those bloody rigging diagrams out again. Oh, they're such a pain, those things, because they're rolled up in the box. Here they are. And then this lovely plastic tube. And when you want to get them out, as you can see, you try to unroll them, it just all just wants to roll up again. You end up with great loads of tubes of paper everywhere. So let me have a look and see if I can see it in here without. That's the colour diagram. I ought to just pin that to the wall or something, didn't I? We'll see if we can see on here. You can see we have these rigging and control line diagrams. This is so dodgy with this fuselage on the bench. It's not showing us anything. You see, we got. Again, I'm going to have to go away and work this out, guys, because I don't know what the hell is going on here. Okay, I'm at a loss for this. I don't even know. You know, some of the drawings don't even show them, the rigging diagrams. So I'm just going to have to put them on there. We'll get some strings. We'll take some string off of here. And we'll have, oh, I need to get some super glue out, don't I? Oh dear, dear, what am I doing today? Hang on. Alright, so we'll get some super glue on this string. They've only got to go sort of down the sides of the fuselage. So what I'm going to do is have it way too long. That way we can't go wrong. So that's glued there. And what we're going to do, we're going to have another one about here. We're going to cut it again. So we'll get some glue off of here. Put one glue up there. We'll have one lot here. There we go. That'll save the ends fraying when we cut it, as suggested in the instructions. So that's dry. That's going to be drying. So I will come along and get my little god hand nippers. They cut this string beautifully because they're so sharp. Now what we've got to do here is make a knot in one end. So what we'll do is just do a granny knot. I'm going to use tweezers because of my great big fingers. So we'll make a knot. Pull that through. That's not going to be big enough, so I'll have to go again. Come here. As you can see, I used to go wreck fishing, but I've never much. I've got two knots there in two separate places. So what I'm going to do is go over there. I have never been any good at knots. All I can do is a granny knot. It's absolutely pathetic for a man of my age. There we go, we've got two knots in one place, and that's what we wanted. Now, is that going to be big enough? don't think it is somehow, because they've made these holes massive for some reason. I don't know why. Nope, nothing like. Why have they made those holes so bloody big? Okay, I'm going to go on and get some knots in these, and I'll be. Okay, there we go. I got one in. I managed to get the knots by doing about 4 granny knots there. So put that in there. Put it through. Oh, the knot's big enough. The knot's not big enough, should I say. So, just my luck with the bloody camera on. I don't know why they've made these holes so bloody huge. It seems crazy. Maybe it's because it's just supposed to represent an eyelet or something. But I would rather they'd given us a hole in the frame to put the string through and then feed it through like we did with the aileron control wires. See if that's any good. There we go. So that's just sitting. They do give you a lovely little recess for the knot to go into, so you don't have this great big bulge there. So keep that, the string sort of on the angle it's going to be on when it's on the model. Just like I've done with this one, as you can see. And then we'll let that glue dry off, and then we can nip off the excess. We've got this chute here as well to go on. That's got to go into the gun after this is fitted. So that piece is in here. So that's cool. Alright, so I'll let those dry, and then I'm going to nip them off, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm just looking at this gun assembly, the sighting assembly. It looks like it might be a little bit awkward to get on there when it's all actually fitted in the plane down in between there, but we'll see how we get on. Right, so I've removed paint from here and down here and on the relevant sections on the fuselage, so we can say goodbye to all this lovely detail now. Police everywhere outside. What's going on? I've also got there, if you look, I've got a string here, which is one of our fuselage stringers. That's around there. We don't want to go trapping that, do we? So we get that out of the way, like so, and we'll actually take that down somewhere else. This is getting so difficult to handle. I'll take this down here, I think, so that it's, oh come on, so that it's out of the way. There we are. I can sit there out of the way. Right, so now this piece, oh, we've got another one there, look. Oh dear, 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 dear. What is going on here? I've got this one. Back in a minute, mate. Yes, that one out of the way. Right, fill up these bloody strings everywhere. Okay, so that's going to drop down there, and those strings are going to go through the holes in those struts, and then that's going to go like that, and then with that glued in position we've got to fit this chute. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to go, but it does fit beautifully. That's good. Right, okay, so we will remove a little paint from there, and we will remove a little paint from there, just to make sure we get a nice good join. Right, so with those strings going down through there, we've now got to somehow glue this down onto there. So, whoopsie daisy, that's going to require a little bit of clamping, I think. Oh no, it's staying down on its own, that's nice. Now I'm wondering if, actually I could probably use these strings to pull it down. Yes, we can. So what I'm thinking is, grab some masking tape, one bit there and another bit there, and we can hold that and wrap that around there. Okay, so if we put the tape like that, tape it further up, we can pull that down. Oh dear, 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 this is difficult. I need to put the model down. Where's the bloody string gone? There it is. So to put the model down, pull down on the string, and then wrap the tape over. Will that work? No. This must be like watching grass grow for you guys. But it's just, I just want to show you my little techniques on getting this thing together, because I must admit it's not the easiest build in the world. It's certainly not for beginners. Absolutely not. There's a child there on his bike pretending he's riding a motorcycle and changing his gears, if you heard that. Sounded like a sick seagull, didn't it? Okay, so that's that down. So what we can do now, because we're going to be gluing panels on the side here that's going to cover all this lovely work up, what I can do is just put a drop of extra thin under there and let it capillary along. I'd like to see if I can have those side panels removable, because it seems such a shame to cover all that lovely detail, all that lovely stuff that's in there. Okay, so that's that cemented down. Remember, I scraped the paint off, so that one drop of extra thin should be plenty. So I'm going to leave that for a while to dry. Okay, I've also fitted that chute in there, so that's all going to dry lovely. While that's drying, I'm going to see if I can get these barrels in, because we have one with a sight and one without a sight, as you can see. Okay, and the one with the sight goes on the right. Because they may well help to hold this down. So there's our machine guns. In fact, I don't need to glue those barrels in yet. I can put them in at any point before I fit the engine. Because they're going to be sticking out the front. It's going to be another thing to get knocked off, isn't it? Although having said that, although this should be okay, because they slide in, don't they? This windscreen, that's going to go in like that. You could still slide them in and out, so that's okay. Alright. So we could leave those barrels off. In fact, I'll leave them there for now, because they're going to help that hold that down while the glue dries. So I want to make sure this is absolutely solid. I don't want anything falling off this model, because I can imagine once you start getting rigging in there and stuff, it's going to be a nightmare to get things back out. So there we are. I may go around afterwards with a little bit of oil and highlight all this detail, just to make it look a bit more sort of, you know, old. We shall see. And we're back. So next day now. So we've got this windshield and this gun sight to be fitted. So what I'm going to do is drop this into here. You can see that it's quite a loose, sloppy fit in there. So what I'm tempted to do is use Mig Ammo Ultra Glue to hold it in place, because not only will it glue it, but it'll also pack out the any gap that's there. And also, it doesn't matter if we get it on the paintwork, because it's like a PVA glue. So that's really good. So we can get some in there, fill that slot up. Okay, and then I'll use a cotton bud. Just one, please. And what we'll do is we will just run over the top. Oh, let's pull it all up out. That's great. Well done, Nigel. No, so I'm putting it in the hole, not on the part, because if I put it on the part, it'll just all push up part. I'm making a right mess of this, like I do with everything. So there we go. One other area you may be looking at in the instructions it previously told us to fit this piece, and this could be a bit of fun because it has to go underneath the fin there and it has to pop underneath at the front here. So we'll have some fun getting that, and if I have to I'll cut it in half and glue it in that way. But I don't want to put it in. I don't want it in there when I've got to do all this rigging. So there we go. So this can pop into this hole, like so. Okay, and I can just sit there and the glue can go off. And then what we can do then is put a drop of the glue into that hole there, just like so. And then we can slide this in through the windshield, and then that will sit down in that indentation. And that is just absolutely 100% pure prime, ready to come off, to fall off. So it's got a mounting there as well. Okay, so does it have a hole? Yes, it does. So we can actually put some on there. So we can slide that through, put that end in there, and then the back end can go into the hole, just like that. So you can see now we've got that sighting thing, whatever it is. We'll show that way a touch. Get it central in the glazing, so it's popped down over that pin there and it's popped into that hole there, and as you can see we've got a little bit of excess glue on there. We'll just wipe that away like so. Job done. So there we go, all done and glued in. Now the other thing we've got to do is when we move forward in the instructions, we have these side pieces going on, and we have these little tiny L9 pieces which are here to go into the bottom. So they are going to fit into these holes here in the sides of the frame. What I'm tempted to do here is just plonk that in there. Just like so. I wonder if those holes go through. Yes, they do, and they reach the string on the other side, so we need to be very careful here. We don't put too much on. I use a drop of the, in fact I use the ordinary, not the quick setting. Use a drop of the ordinary Tamiya extra thin. Just put that on there. Make sure it's horizontal. Just like that. And then we will put this in here. And then again, a tiny drop. Boof, there we go. That should be enough to hold them in there. What we'll do is once the sides are on, we'll put those strings down and tie them off. Or just pass them through and glue them, maybe not tie them, I don't know. And there we go. And I think what I'm going to have to do now is getting to the point now where I'm going to have to start tying these things off, because we've got all the extra bits of string everywhere where things are tied off, and we're going to have to start to tension everything up and get it all done properly. That's not going to be for today, that's going to be for next week. So I could leave those now to dry in there, like so. Okay, and hopefully they'll be good to go. So I will see you all next week. I'm going to leave this alone now and let everything just set, because as you know this is all held in now with Big Ammo Ultra Glue, which takes a little while to dry, and those two bits there are going to have to be rock solid before I can put any strings down. I'm not fitting the gun barrels yet, and also these tubes here intakes. I'm not putting them on that right now because, to be honest, I'm absolutely sick and tired with this model of stopping to paint stuff. And of course they've got to be painted to match that tube. And I cannot remember which colour I did that. This tube down in here, this tube that runs across the bottom of the instrument panel. You can see down in there. I can't remember what colour I did it now. But I'm going to have to do the same. So we're going to have to paint it gloss black, and then that colour, and then clear coated to make them match. Oh dear, dear, dear. It just goes on and on and on. Every single time you move to another step, you find yourself a boatload of work to do. I think we'll be okay when we get to this, but we have got to paint. We've got to do some detail painting, all of this stuff here as well. And I think really I want to be getting that spine piece in before we start thinking about the wings, which means I'm going to have to get the seat in, which means I've now got to come along and paint this bloody leather boundary around it. Oh, it's just on and on and on. Right, I'll see you next week, guys, and I'll stop bloody moaning. Right, bye for now. Thank you for watching.